Okay, being 5:30, I'd like to call the Permanent Building Committee to order. We'll do a roll call. Diane's remote. Dennis Kelly.
Here.
Paul Millerani.
Here.
I know Jack Holloway's not here. Diane Allen.
Here.
And myself, George Hooper's here.
You sure?
I think so, yeah. First item on our agenda is, it's been a long time. I've been the chair for this committee, so the purpose was to reorg since we have a new superintendent of buildings. So I thought it would be a right time to do a reorganization. If any discussion?
Yep.
Can I nominate somebody?
At this point, you can nominate. Right, sitting right there.
Right there.
That's a free time on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to nominate Dennis Kelly with an E.
Yeah.
With an E? Yes.
Chairman of the,
And
the building.
I'll second that nomination.
All right.
Accept
We have a motion. We have an accepted. We have a second. All in favor?
You got a roll call.
Oh, yeah, you got a roll call vote on that?
Yeah, because of
Paul
Diane.
Millerani,
Yes.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
George Hooper is yes, unanimous. All
Good.
right. You can take it.
Congratulations.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Pressure.
Yeah.
We just get to give them all the stuff we don't want to do.
You can't say no now. He's in the chair.
All right, so next on the agenda will be discussion with the town manager on the new fire substation.
Yes, thank you. So I apologize for folks like Greg, this is gonna be the third time that Greg has seen this presentation, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the current status of the new fire substation proposal, and let folks know, both on the committee and watching at home, what is going on. So I'm going to share my screen now, Diane, so let me know if you can see once this is up. Did you see that, Diane?
Yes, I can. I see North Wilmington Fire Substation. Yep.
Great, okay. So.
Open the show mode.
Yeah.
Put that little screen right there. Get right there. That one, right there. Yeah, you should mark this date.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about potential substation. Now that we are at a certain point, and some votes have been taken, I can let folks know officially we're talking about a property on Salem Street. This is the property in between the Harnden Tavern and the Health Center off Salem Street. We're going to talk about 500 Salem Street, which is the adjacent medical center, and hopefully some partnerships we can work with them. We're going to talk about specifically a rail right-of-way that's on the 500 Salem Street parcel. And then we're going to look at a potential layout for the substation. Okay, so the property at Salem Street. So folks can see this is the property. It doesn't currently have a Salem Street address, but it is in between the Harnden Tavern property, which as you can see is on the bottom left of your screen is the Harnden Tavern property. The bottom right of your screen is the medical center. And we'll welcome Kevin Kyra. Thank you for coming and coming to see us. So the health center is on the bottom right of your screen. This property was originally acquired by the town in 1990. An Article 24 of the 1990 town meeting, which authorized the land to be purchased for water department purposes, excepting 1 acre to be designated by a town meeting, which is to be reserved for the site of a future substation. So it's only been 35 years, and now we're moving on it.
Excuse me, I only have just the first slide there that says North Wilmington Fire Substation. That's all I'm looking at.
Okay, let's see. All right, let me stop sharing. Let me try this again then.
Can bring your evaluation.
I'm gonna say you might want to get out of that mode, that you're gonna go back to the original one and then just do individual slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw all the slides on the side.
And I did notice you took it over and the.
Okay. Now I see the property on Salem Street. I got it.
You see it?
Yes, got it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
That property was reserved for had an acre that's set aside for the future substation. Just as moment. Well, this is not.
Tough crowd.
I know. It was better last night when Kevin McDonald
The
was
two
here.
guys on the Muppet Show. In my world, we call it unannounced observation.
The two guys in the theater, the two old guys in the theater.
The balcony guys.
Yeah. You too.
Okay, so Diane, can you see it now?
No, it went back to potential substation. It's all black.
He started it over
I
again.
started over again.
Oh, you started over. Okay. All right.
Are you seeing the I
I
just
saw,
wanted to make sure it's working for you.
yep. Now on the right is the next animation. Yep. Now that the property on
Okay.
6th Street came up. Correct.
There we go. Okay, so importantly, there was a vote that happened on March 12th from the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, where they voted to surplus an additional acre of land on this parcel and transfer it to the select board for fire substation use as well. That's subject to a vote of the annual town meeting, and it's on the warrant for May. So the 500 Salem Street Medical Center site. So if you can see, the town's parcels, it's surrounded by yellow on the left. The medical center site is at the bottom, but they also own a rail bed that runs along the back angle of the property that angles down towards Salem Street behind the two residential parcels. So this is going to help Diane, but their parcel includes this big arm and then the main.
Got it.
So I've already been in contact with Leahy, who's the owner of the medical center, to discuss a few things. It specifically benefits of us kind of partnering together. So the first thing was I made a request as to whether or not they would be willing to provide us an access easement over the entrance to their property. So this entrance right here,
Yeah.
the entrance closest to the intersection of Woburn and Salem Street. And they said that they would provide us that easement. So that means that we don't have to put the infrastructure for another curb cut on our parcel. It has a couple of benefits. Number one, it saves us space. Number two, it pulls the entrance onto Salem Street further away from the intersection. So it's less interference with traffic at that intersection. So that was something that we were driving for. It means we can also probably, we'll be able to maximize space to try and find a location where the ground parks, we can put a septic system on site. So they were amenable to that. I also made a request to see whether or not they were interested in expanding their parking lot, and they were. So if this design needed to have additional parking that wouldn't fit on our site, they would be willing to expand their parking lot at the bottom left, which would be close to where we've had our substation. I don't think we're gonna need it, but if we did, we have that option, and they'd be willing to allow us to expand that parking lot. And then give us an easement to use it for parking for our substation. And then finally, I asked them about whether or not they were interested at all in talking to the town about purchasing that rail right of way. So this is the right of way outlined in red. Can you see that, Diane? Is this
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
So the acquisition of this rail right of way has a couple of different benefits. The first is the parcel that was owned by the town. I talked to Mark Rich about, and we did some legal research to determine whether or not that was Article 97 protected. So for folks who aren't aware, Article 97 just means we have land that's supposed to be in a protected status, whether it's for water protection or recreation or open space, parkland. Article 97 protection, and you can't build things on it and take things out of Article 97 protection unless you have suitable land to swap, and you have to get approval from the legislature to do it, the state legislature to do it. So it's kind of a pain if you want to do something on Article 97 land. I have an opinion from town council that this is not Article 97 land. But that determination is not necessarily made by us. So it's possible that DEP could come in, and I don't think they will, but if they could come in and say, this is Article 97 land, you're going to have to jump through these hoops. One of the main things you have to have, if you want to take land out of Article 97, is a suitable parcel in the same resource area that's not held under Article 97. So that's the first reason why we would acquire this right of way, is because then we can say, we've got 3 acres of land here. That's the right of way, it's about 3 acres. And we will trade it in the same resource area for taking effectively 2 acres of land out. That should be a slam dunk. I've already talked to the state rep about it. So Dave's fully prepared to make those filings with the legislature and help push it through the state if we need to take it out of Article 27. Secondly, if that doesn't emerge, and if we believe, as we believe this is an Article 97 protected, we will be acquiring this land, hopefully, for general municipal purposes to be held under the select board. But after the substation has been built and it's clear there's not an Article 97 need, we could then turn that land over to the water department. So they would have it. If you look just north of it, this very dark area, this is all the wetlands that feed into the wells. So them having an additional buffer area between Salem Street and the resource area where the wells are fed from is positive for them. So acquiring the land, even if that's what we do for it, would still have a benefit to the town. So potential layout. This is something I've talked over with the chief. So as you can see, that's the yellow is the large parcel. That red area is approximately 2 acres. In this iteration, what would happen would be, if this would work, we'd have a fire substation facing the like kind of the diagonal here towards the access road. We would have a drive that would come in off Woburn Street, so you drive into the back of the bays, and then out the front of the bays out to Salem Street when the vehicles were leaving. In that situation, we'd probably have septic and parking in the notch that head towards Salem Street, and then what I'd like to do is put a nice sidewalk along Salem Street. If we overbuilt the parking a little bit, you could use that parking space also for the Harnett Tavern. So it would turn this into more of a kind of a little bit of a municipal lot, so that the Harnett Tavern could have parking where right now they don't.
I know it's a little bit in the future, but are you thinking maybe a set of traffic lights similar to the public safety we have now? So if a piece of apparatus is pulling out on that road, which is usually, they do travel at high speed.
Yeah, you'd have to have some sort of signalization at that access road
Right.
coming out onto
Absolutely.
Salem Street. And one of the reasons why, like I said, we wanted to pull it away from the intersection is so those at two intersections, if they were both being signalized at the same time, wouldn't create as much of a problem as if we were trying to enter, 50 or 60 feet closer. I mean, this is 140 feet, so even if we had it here, you're talking about 100 feet closer to the intersection.
Sure. You have an opticom on that and you'd be fine. So
Yeah, so you're talking right now, this intersection is about, it's close to 240 and 140 is to 400 feet from the intersection, which is a good distance to keep it away from that signalization. So that's just the potential. We've gone out for the RFP and are awarding the feasibility study. Socotec was the firm that was chosen. And so they're submitting their price proposals. We should have them within the next couple of days. And then we're going to have them start off on doing work so we can have some more fixed information by the time the town meeting rolls around.
Excuse me, could you say that name again one more time, Eric?
Socotec. I think George and Dennis are very familiar with them. They've had
Used to be Russo.
Bob.
The Grand Park?
that's an excellent question.
They usually have done.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work for DPW. I don't know whether they put in for it or not. I know we got several submissions. And I can certainly, if folks want to know who submitted, that's public information, so we can certainly provide that.
Then you're gonna solicit OPM services.
Yep. So the feasibility study is going to be about size of the facility, how many beds we need, what's kind of square footage we need to have on a facility. Looking not just now, but into kind of going into the future to make sure that if we need only 2 bays now, but we're gonna need 3 bays in 20 years, we might as well build 3 bays
Future
now.
growth, makes sense.
Yeah, and then we're also gonna have them do some site work because we need to make sure the ground perks. That Paul Looney's done a really great job helping me with this. He nailed down the specific GPS location of the wells that are on the parcel to the north of this, so that we know exactly where the 400-foot line is. It's far away from this proposed layout here, so we're not impeding on that zone 1 close to the wells. And he also went and got the reports from when the septic system was put in to for the health center, and it's underneath that parking lot. And he said the soil testing there was great, and so he's anticipating that if we look at this notch, he thinks that it's the same similar soils and that adjacent to Salem Street. So hopefully that should perk in such that we'd be able to put a septic system there.
We're able to move forward with a feasibility study without appropriating money at town meeting. Is that all being done?
That money was already appropriated. It was appropriated in last year's town meeting.
Okay.
So we have the money for the feasibility study and for the architectural and the OPM services.
How much did we appropriate?
I think it was $650,000 was set aside in last year's town meeting. So this year's town meeting, we put in a capital plan request for $3.5 million, which is kind of the first down payment on the substation. Our anticipated costs are, 10 to 12 total. But the 3.5 million is coming from free cash. So we're putting that aside now so that the ask next year, we'll be able to do all of the architectural. We'll have an OPM on site. We'll do all the architectural designs. We'll get, 100% design before next year's town meeting. So we'll know exactly, we'll be ready to put out to bid and know an exact dollar number next year for town meeting. So that's the plan. It's come together really quick. I want to give Kevin credit because Kevin said to me, look at that parcel. I think it looks like a good one. And I don't think you even knew it was our land.
I had no idea.
And so
You're supposed to say, yeah, I did.
you knew it all along.
I think acquiring that rail trail there is a good idea also, because through remediation, we dealt with the high school, you can swap off them. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So we'll just have that
We don't
land.
have-
We'll have that land. We'll keep it in our back pocket for general municipal purposes until this project is done. If we don't need it for an Article 97 swap. And that way, if there's ever anything that comes up that we need to do, we'll have it there to be able to do with.
With the wetlands that close, I would think we'd look at an all-electric building similar to what we're doing with the town hall and the senior center. You're not bringing a fossil fuel that is a large amount of fuel onto that.
Yeah, and because the codes are what they are, I mean,
We're gonna have to go that way.
We're stuck that way.
they're gonna push us
Push it
to
that way anyway.
that direction anyway, so.
And then I don't know if there's gas up there. There's a natural gas attached to the back of the generator, but might be something to look into.
Yeah, so we'll certainly look into that. This was one of 10 parcels that, Paul Looney looked at when he was evaluating parcels for Jeff, with respect to, a site for a substation. And, I don't know. I mean, I think anecdotally, the Article 97 question was a little bit hairy, and I think that nobody really pushed it past that to try to determine whether Article 87 is real or not.
And I think that location, obviously you weren't here, they had the fire department camp on the Haddon site when they were doing that culvert. I think that site actually worked out really well for them, that location. So that even makes that, they've already baited it there for a whole summer, which is great.
Yeah, so this is just so folks know, the site didn't come out of nowhere. It has been looked at in the past. It's also one of the sites that meets the criteria that the fire department had already put out for the substation, because we were looking at response times for North Wilmington, and there's only kind of a certain radius around, this area in the Andover Street up past the DPW area that are really optimal for reaching North Wilmington at the optimal response time. So this property fits right into it. I think when you factor in how close it is to the on-ramp, you can probably get up to 125. They can get up to
Great location for mutual assistance to other communities.
Yeah, as well. And then
Access to the highway too.
yeah, so that's the kind of the story, and I wanted to let the permanent building committee know that this is kind of, we're moving along this. Answer any questions you folks had, if there were, about the process or.
I think it's great, and finally, we've been talking about this for
Long time.
almost as long as I've been on the permanent building committee, and that's
Right.
that too, so. I think this is great, and it's great to see everybody in town working together to be able to pull this off, and it looks like we're gonna maybe do this without a debt exemption in the end.
Oh, we're not gonna get a debt exception. We're absolutely gonna do this.
This is
within-
great news, so we do it within the tax levy, I mean, that's good news for everybody.
But
And we get this coverage.
needed on it, and we already have the property. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I felt like it was appropriate to move forward with this, because it was already property that we had.
Good talk, Kevin.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think Paul made some good points, and George too, that, most of this land we already had. It's in a perfect location. This is the area that we've been trying to concentrate on. And just to verify, you're talking about the exiting of the fire trucks on Salem Street. Is that correct?
Yeah, can you see my cursor?
Yes, I can.
So that access, you guys can't see it, but they can. So the access right
Yep.
there on the right next to the little notch on Salem Street. That's the access that we're talking about getting an easement from the medical center to.
Got it. Very good. Very, very good.
So, to assume that the driveway is gonna be made wider and longer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my anticipation would be, and again, I'm sorry, Diane, because I'm going to walk up to the screen. my anticipation from going out onto the site and looking is that we're gonna need to widen this driveway. And it's obviously we're probably gonna, just take it straight back.
Right.
So there'll be, the entrance will just, we're gonna want a straight shot for the equipment to get to the intersection. So however, we set it up here and all likelihood, by the time they get to this point, they're just gonna be in straight to the intersection.
I guess my other question on that is that you're gonna have people from the parking lot coming out where they could, there's gonna have to be some real
Yeah, so-
stoppage.
Yeah, there's gonna have to,
Unless you have them come in that way and go out the other way. I
Well,
don't know.
this is a two-way
Right, I know.
right now, so we'll talk to the hospital or to the health center about what they think, but also we're gonna have our engineers look at how to best control traffic that location when there needs to be access. If we go with the suggestion that I had, which is entrance through the back and then exit through the front, it's just gonna be, when there's an emergency, people are gonna be coming out. And
No, I
that's
get
gonna
it,
be
but if there's someone leaving that parking lot at the same time a truck is pulling out, to George and Paul's point, maybe a small flashing light, red
Yeah.
light goes off.
Yeah, something's gonna have to be done here to stop them from getting in front of the traffic, I agree. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm drilling down.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that we're gonna, when we have the architects, do their design, we're also gonna ask for them to design the traffic and then the ingress and egress for both us and the health center, so that we can try to mitigate those points of conflict that are gonna happen when there's an emergency.
Good.
Great.
Forward to further information.
I like the creativeness and how you got here, and the rail trails makes a big difference and gives you a lot of flexibility, so that's.
Yeah,
great.
so
Thank
fingers
you.
crossed that works out. I mean, we're still negotiating.
Any other questions before we ask for a motion to adjourn, because we have another meeting at 6?
Just,
You got a question?
no, I just want to give the opportunity to public, if anybody new.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second,
All in favor? Roll call.
roll call.
Diane Allen,
yes.
Paul Malorani,
Yes,
George Hooper,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly, yes.
excellent.
Great.
Thank you. That was a lot of
Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.